Hey Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Wonderful, I'm doing good. Can you tell me a little bit about your professional career?
Sure. I went to Clemson University, graduated with an MIS degree. Um, from there, I was the sole system administrator for a tool distributor in Greenville, South Carolina, and learned the the building blocks and the foundation of what I needed to know to maintain a large network separated all around the state, or really around the southeast, there, and then moved on after 4.5 years to integrated power services, where I work today. And I've moved from, I was originally hired as a network administrator, and now I'm the IT manager. And so, yeah.
Could you give me a background of your organization?
Sure. Integrated Power Services, we are a service repair company. We work on electric motors, wind turbines, generators, and other large electrical apparatuses, mainly focus on energy creation. So oil, hydro, nuclear power, water power, or hydro, already covered hydro, wind. Um, and anyway, we're roughly 1,000 employees across the U.S. and Canada, 22 sites. But we have some challenges. Our challenges are that we are a small IT department. We have 4 people in IT currently, and with 1,000 employees, there's quite a bit of work and quite a bit of challenges with that.
Can you tell me about some of the MIS related positions in your organization?
Yep. Like I said, there's only 4 of us. I'm the current IT manager. With that, I also am in charge of all server and network infrastructure in the company. We have one person that's solely business intelligence. She is our database administrator, and does reporting and those kind of functions. She's also the best in us for information systems, and our ERP system that we use. We have another employee that is a help desk, or strictly dedicated to help desk, and the final employee is a tier 2 help desk, also does some training and focuses on our CRM system for our sales force.
At this time, we would like to ask you a couple of system analysis and design topics.
Okay.
And if you could you prioritize them between essential, important, or relevant based upon your experience in IT?
Sure.
First off, we have this information system building blocks.
I'm going to go with irrelevant, or seldom needed. For us, for our environment, or for me, the system's mostly built. There's, it's like, what exactly would be the building block of the information systems. So I would just say that's not real relevant to my role.
All right, for the next one, how about information systems development?
That one is pretty relevant. I would say it's important for me. I'm not. We outsourced our information system development to the ERP company that developed the actual software. But for any kind of additions or modifications we want to make, it was important for us to have the knowledge, to get those changes made and to oversee those changes.
Okay, so you go with essential?
I would say it's important. We didn't make a lot of changes, so I wouldn't say it was an everyday thing.
Okay.
We would do it 2 or 3 times a year.
How about project management?
Extremely important, essential. For us, we are completely project based. Every motor that comes into the shops, every upgrade that we do is a project. So we look at everything as a project, and we are constantly seeing where we are on those projects to move toward completion.
All right, how about system analysis?
For me, it's important. I need knowledge of system analysis. Most of the system analysis work was done by our DBA that also did business intelligence, just because that's mostly her her wheelhouse of knowing that the ERP system so well. But I am a backup of her. So yeah, I mean, for me it's important, but
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, what about fact-finding techniques for requirements discovery?
I'd say that's also important. Anytime we do a project, we want to know exactly what the requirements are, and the only way to do so is to go figure out what's actually needed. Read the documentation and figure out what's needed, and put those into a clear list of this is what we got to have, and then present that and get it done.
How about modeling system requirements with use cases?
For my job, it was irrelevant.
Okay.
I didn't do any modeling system requirements. It was more of um, once we had a project we wanted to do to complete that project, not so much of modeling that way.
Okay.
What about data modeling and analysis?
Uh, for me, again, kind of irrelevant. That was mostly our DBA that did it. I was I was more of a backup there, so my role was only if Annie's not there.
Okay. How about process modeling?
Again, not real relevant for me.
Okay.
Um, I'm not even sure what process modeling would be. I mean, I guess there are processes to any of these projects we're doing, and if that's considered it, then that would be pretty important. But yeah, so I don't know. I would still say it's pretty irrelevant
Okay.
because I still think that's more of a, if I read process modeling, I would say it's more of a business intelligence type function, which I did very little of.
Okay.
Okay, what about object-oriented analysis and modeling using the UML?
I would say that's more of a project. Right, would you agree that that's more of a programming type question?
Yes, sir.
I do some programming. It's not a lot. It's a
So
little bit.
that would be relevant.
It's relevant, but I don't know how important it would be for me.
Okay.
I'd say it's somewhere between important and relevant because most the programming I'm doing is um, general websites, portals, those kind of things for
Yeah.
people to actually get information.
Okay. How about feasibility analysis and the system proposal?
That's essential for me.
Okay.
It was anytime I'm building a system, I want to know the goals, and then it's completely my job to propose that system to upper management, especially the finances of that particular project to complete. So that's essential to my role.
How important would you say systems design would be?
Very important. Very important. That's uh, most of what I do is system design and then maintaining that system after it is completed or after the project to build that design is completed. Um, so system design is probably the most important one we've covered so far.
How about application architecture and modeling?
Probably pretty irrelevant, somewhere between irrelevant and important, I guess. There's got to be a middle ground in there somewhere. But as I said, I do a little bit of programming, but it's the apps I'm making are very small. They're usually single use, and there's not that much modeling to it. It's more of a,
Okay.
hey, I have this headache I want to try to get fixed, and and try to make somebody's life a little easier, somebody's job a little easier.
What about database design?
Database design goes well into the programming that I'm doing. Most of it was very database oriented. Um, Again, I wouldn't say my programming is all that essential because it's not really my job. But I do it, I guess. I would say that it would be important for me to have an understanding of database and the design of the database to understand how and where data is. I feel like database design in general gives you a great feeling or a great understanding of how an ERP system works just from knowing where the data is and which tables things are located. So I'd say it's very important, not necessarily essential for me, but very important.
How about output, design, and prototyping?
Now I'd say that's more of a programming question again, and would make an interface here and there. I would say that's pretty irrelevant to me.
Okay.
Really.
How about input, design, and prototyping?
I would say the same. It's pretty irrelevant to my position.
How about user interface design?
With any of my programming, I'd have to make a user interface of some variety, but it wouldn't be, it's not like the things that I'm making are used by all 1,000 people. It's usually for a couple people in the company, 20 to 50 people in the company. So the user interface needs to be usable, but it's nothing complex enough that needs a group of people or anybody to agree that this is how it should be. So it's a personal goal for myself to make it look good. So I'd say it's important to me.
What about object-oriented design and modeling using the UML?
I would say that's pretty irrelevant for me, just like the object-oriented analyst was earlier. I would say that's just not important to my use case.
Okay. How about the systems construction and implementation?
That's pretty essential. That's
Okay.
pretty much what I do day to day is build, design, and implement systems, as well as maintain our staff and oversee the projects that we as an IT group are working on. So I would say that's very important to me, or essential would probably be the best way to say it.
Okay.
What about systems operation and support?
Again, essential for me. Not whenever you build a system, you also need to be able to support it and actually maintain that system. So that's exactly what my role does. So I would say those things are very important and very much essential to what I do for my career.
I actually had a question about project management.
Please.
We had a project management course, and I want to know about some of the software you use in your field.
We use just regular Microsoft Project, nothing special. A good Gantt chart here and there just to keep track of some of the projects we're working on. We are in the process of trying to simplify our reporting of projects as much as possible, and we're actually getting away from doing these crazy complex Gantt charts and things and trying to get back to the basics. And we've been going to just a simple Excel spreadsheet with blocks, and we'll color the blocks depending on where we are in projects at the time. So we set ourselves soft goals that we want to hit by X date, and we'll color that date in on the calendar or the Excel block. And if we don't hit it, we'll start marking the previous blocks as red, and so we'll know that we're behind and need to get caught up. So we've really tried to simplify our project management as much as possible, because we are a very lean department, and the most we can get done with the four of us, the better off we are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
You talked a little bit about portals earlier. Can you discuss that a little bit more?
Yeah, so we do SharePoint, which is probably our main actual web portal. There's very little programming there that we do. Most of what we use SharePoint-wise is the default SharePoint page. A little bit of design there of what should be showing, what documents are there. What I'm defining as a portal is, or the project I'm specifically talking about for an interface perspective, is a safety website that I've put together that they use to keep track of man hours worked, any incidents that we may have had in the shops, how many days or hours people are out in said incidents. And so they enter these numbers in once every week, each location, and then the website puts it all in a database, and then from there it just pulls it back and runs some reports, gives them some nice pretty graphs that they can present up to their management to show that as a company we're doing much better or worse safety wise.
Okay, so they don't use it as a collaboration tool?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you, Justin. I think that's about it.
You're welcome. Well, if you guys have any other questions or anything, please give me a call, let me know.
All right, thank you.